Hello everyone and welcome to our talk. I am Mang Cai, attorney at law at New Weiming Law Group. So today my topic is what kind of documents are needed to bring to the I-485 interview. Frequently we receive inquiries from clients and other applicants asking us, my 485 interview is coming, what kind of documents should I bring? A while ago, we recorded a video of my own experience of accompanying client to the 485 interview. Okay, you can check that video and you can prepare the interview accordingly. Usually, you receive a notice of action saying interview has been scheduled, which is great. And then, the notice lists all kinds of documents, and that may make you worry that, exactly what kind of documents are needed. So the short answer is use common sense. Okay, the interview notice is intended for all kinds of I-485 applications, including family-based, employment-based, and asylum, and some other kind of I-485. So some documents may not apply to you. For example, the interview notice may mention marriage certificate. Well, if you are not married, of course, you do not need to bring that. So for family-based I-485, you will need to bring documents to prove the family relationship, of course. And for employment-based application, especially for most of our clients, if you apply through NIW or EB1 or PERM, you will need to bring relevant documents to show the basis of your 485, your I-140 approval, that it still exists. Sometimes the client asks us, it says all documents for your underlying I-140 approval. Does that mean I need to bring all my publications and all my review records, all these things? No, you do not have to bring all those papers. So what are needed? Like your employment status, you can have your employment verification letter and your recent pay stubs, your W-2 form and other tax forms to show you have been working and you do have a professional job. And how to show you are still in your field of expertise? You can bring an updated CV, and if you are a researcher, professional, scientist, you can bring your new publications and other documents showing you are still active in your field of expertise. And what else? Medical exam, if your original medical exam result has already expired, they are usually valid for 1 year. So, you can bring a new one. Actually, these days, sometimes USCIS remind you to bring new documents for your medical exam. And what else? If you apply together with your spouse and children, you will need, again, family relationship documents to show the relationship between yourself and your family members, such as, marriage certificate and birth certificate, those documents. If the documents are in foreign language or issued outside of the US, you may need notarization or certified translation of the documents. And what else? The documents showing you and derivative beneficiaries have maintained legal status in the US since you entered the US, especially in the most recent time. So say you entered the US 3 years ago or 5 years ago, and since then, maybe for several years, you were a student, and then you worked for another couple years, and you will need documents to show you have the work authorization and you have maintained your student status. So those can be your transcript, your diploma, the I-20 form, and your past EAD or work visa, those documents. So overall, what you need to think about in preparation of the interview is, first, what is the basis for you to file your 485? And of course, you will need to bring documents related to that basis, either family relationship documents or, employment-related documents. And second, your personal documents like medical exam or, birth certificate, those files. And finally, your personal history documents, well, to show you have maintained valid immigration status, you have been in the US as a student or as a professional employee, those kind of documents. So it will help if you have lived in different locations, lived in several different addresses, and worked on several different jobs. You can list a table, from date A to date B, you worked on this specific job, you lived in this specific physical address, and then, what's the next entry from date B to date C, where did you live, what's your visa status, where did you work. You will need to be ready to present documents to prove your saying about your past immigration history. So overall, that's about it. One final point is, well, if you have ever been arrested or, as a defendant, otherwise have some kind of criminal history, you will also need to bring documents to explain, that kind of past history, well, whether the case has already been settled, cleared, even if the record has already been expunged, you are still required to report such kind of history in your I-485 form. And since you are reporting those in your form, you should be ready to bring relevant documents and statement to explain the past incident. And similarly, if you belong to a specific group, if you had a membership in some political group, you will also need to be ready to bring relevant documents or at least statement to explain the history. And well, what about the tax forms? Well, those are usually not required if you go through employment-based immigration. If it's family-based, you may need to show you have enough financial resources, or at least the petitioner has. For employment-based, well, it's not required, but it will surely help to show you will not be a public charge, to show you do have a professional job and income. And sometimes there's the catch-all, in the interview notice, it may say, all documentation establishing your eligibility for lawful permanent resident status. Well, what does all documents mean? Well, as we just mentioned, it's not as broad as it sounds. You can bring the documents to show your eligibility, personal history, and the documents we just listed. And one other issue is travel history. If you traveled abroad since you filed I-485, you will also need to bring relevant international travel record, so that when asked, you can present those documents. So overall, you can bring a professional bag with all those pouches. When asked about a specific type of documents, you can quickly look them up and present the document. As we previously mentioned, you should not be a robot who totally rely on the existing documents. The interview itself is for oral communication between yourself and the immigration officer. So when facing a question, the first response should not be, oh, I have a document for this, everything is there, so just read the document. No, you should answer the question, and then you can add, say, oh, look, I do have additional statement, proof, document regarding this. Well, do you want to keep this for your record? Ask the immigration officer. So basically, that's all. You do not have to bring a lot of documents. By the way, there's the security checkpoint at the USCIS office, right? You do not want to bring too much burden to the security guards. Yeah? Just act reasonably, use your common sense, and bring the documents as needed. And finally, the interview is just one process. If, God forbid, there's some document you forgot to bring, and that's still fine. You can tell the immigration officer, not all documents are required. Maybe there are some substitutes that will work. And even if not, the immigration officer can simply issue a request for evidence for you to submit that kind of document later. So again, the topic for this video is what kind of documents are needed for you to bring to the I-485 interview. Please contact us if you have additional questions. Thank you.